When successful businesses contribute to the economy of Bahrain, it is not just the financial standing of the country which is improved, but the bank balances of the people. One such company is Al Ezzel Power Company, the first private power company in Bahrain. In the year 2004, the Ministry of Finance and National Economy awarded the contract for the 1,000 megawatts to Al Ezzel, due to which it stands as the first independent power project under the government of Bahrain. Appointed as the main contractor, under the EPC contractor for the civil and building works of the project, the services provided have indeed seen the Bahrain economy grow from strength to strength. Cited as a landmark achievement in the field of Bahrain infrastructure financing market, recently, Al Ezzel Power celebrated the closing of a new $243 million financial facility at the Capital Club in the Bahrain Financial Harbor. Extended by a consortium of local and regional banks like Arab Banking Corporation, National Bank of Kuwait, Mashreq Bank, National Bank of Bahrain and Ali United Bank. What the delegates and the experts offer on this, stay tuned to Bahrain Now.
This project has been a remarkable success from day one. First, in terms of the financing it raised at the time in 2004, we had an 18-year financing, which was very, very rare, if not the first one of its kind at the time for a privately owned project. Today we're celebrating the fact that we have entered into a new agreement to refinance what was left of the old debt and extend the maturity of the new one. And in our opinion, the fact that this refinancing has been taken up completely by banks who are Bahraini banks or based in Bahrain is a sign of confidence in long-term infrastructure projects in Bahrain. It doesn't have a hold on the economy, but the private sector in Bahrain is very active and very dynamic. Al Ezzel was the first independent power project, which means it's the first project that is privately owned, and it set a number of records, whether in the number of bids that it attracted, the time it took to complete the bidding, and also the very low tariff that was achieved at the time. In that sense, it opened the door and made it easier for other private power projects to follow. Well, as I said, the tariff that Bahrain succeeded in getting from Al Ezzel was a very, very low tariff. If I remember well, it was a record low tariff that was achieved at the time. And this tariff is fixed for a period of 20 years. So Bahrain then has the ability to allocate costs, the tariff, to various users as it wishes. We don't set that. We sell power at a fixed price for a period of 20 years, and EWA, the Electricity and Water Authority, then sets the commercial terms of its sales of power to Bahraini residential users, commercial users, industrial users.
ABC is leading this deal, and it gives us, of course, tremendous pride to be so. This is a transaction of about 243 million. We are leading a club of banks. Most of them are from Bahrain. It's a landmark transaction, but it's not the first. We've been associated with the company since inception in 2004, when it got the license to run the first IPP privately owned project. It was innovative at the time, and it shows, in fact, that the contribution of the private sector with the government could be extremely rewarding. And today, the company contributes about 30% to the grid of electricity of Bahrain. And if you are here in Bahrain living in the summer, you can taste how much this contribution is useful. Well, today I think we're celebrating an amazing example where, in fact, we have an innovative product where international companies have tied in shareholding with the leaders in the region. So GIC as a platform of investment, and SIO as which is the pension fund in Bahrain, tying together in order to support a private owned combined cycle plant. And They have resorted to the best of technology. Siemens came, in fact, and delivered in a turnkey contract in about 26 months this product. And for the past 12 years, it's working like a Swiss watch. That's really an excellent example of that cooperation between government, between sponsors of a future development in Bahrain, between banks who are supporting this project, and between the best of technology in the world. This is really an example that we are very proud, in fact, to be associated with. Well, I think already we can see that this pioneering transaction has yielded a number of other transactions in the country. So we have now a head which is in part privately owned. We have other projects as well privately owned. And when you see the map, in fact, of the electricity production in Bahrain, you see that it's going through a very well planned and measured expansion, where in fact everybody is contributing and happily contributing, and the outcome in fact is positive for everyone. As banks, we're proud to be associated with such an initiatives. The project is doing extremely well. The government is getting its electricity, and that's exactly how the economy should work.
Indeed, this event that we attended all today, the signature of the agreement for refinancing of the electric plant, is important because it earmarks a success story. It is the story of a plant which was the first IPP in Bahrain, which was at that time financed in complicated conditions because the time was the crisis, economic crisis was there, and now the plant has such success and provides so well with such a high quality of service what it has to do, meaning electricity, that the consortium of banks have decided to refinance it and to give it their trust again renewed and autonomy. It's particularly important for us, France, because as you well know, almost 50% of the participation in this plant is detained by the big French enterprise Engie. And therefore, as a French ambassador, I feel happy because indeed it contributes to strengthen French-Bahraini partnership in economic field. Relations between Bahrain and France are as old as Bahrain independence. Just to mention the BNP Paribas planted and settled down in Manama at the very time of Bahrain existence, in the very beginning of the years 70. And it was followed by a number of other French big and medium and small enterprises. Just to mention you, FIV, for instance, maybe you don't know, but FIV is taking care of the installment of the 6th line of Alba, which will make out of Alba the first world aluminium production plant in the world. FIV is a 100% French enterprise. I could quote many other examples. We also have a very, not very important in volume, but in quality, and symbolically it's very strong. For instance, Gulf Air has commissioned almost 30 Airbus planes. Some of them have come already, and the others are being brought in the country. We have a Chamber of Commerce, a French Bahraini Chamber of Commerce, which boasts more than 80 enterprises at the present time, I think. The figure is not very clear to me. But this Chamber of Commerce, whose chairman is here today, works on a daily basis to strengthen these relations, to attract French investors in Bahrain, attract Bahraini investors in France in coordination with EDB, which is focuses on that task also, to facilitate, to smoothen the way for plans of French enterprises here, and to create fruitful partnerships between French and Bahraini on sectors of niche or more general sectors. But I'd say virtually no corner of economic activity is unknown to French-Bahraini partnership, and that's a very good thing. I would like that the diagnosis that I just formulated, success story, be confirmed and beyond. And I would like this particular setting, this team, success team of bankers and stakeholders from all Gulf region, be considered as a model to prolong, continuate, and expand a French-Bahraini relationship and French-Gulf relationship, because Bahrain is also a hub to the Gulf region.
Yes, NBB has diversified its strategy over the past few months, and one of the areas where we want to be much more present is financing the large and strategic project of the kingdom. So in that perspective, financing, be part of the financing or refinancing of Ezzel was very important, because Ezzel is power. Power is at the core of the economy, and it was showing our commitment. And at the same time, NBB has also invested in, I would say, expert capacities with a team of structured finance, and we are therefore able to play a much more active role than in the past in terms of structuring and arranging these transactions. So for us, it's typically the type of financing we want to be involved in the future. Well, all the banks which were here today were participating in this financing, which in a way shows the commitment of the local and regional banks to the economy of Bahrain. But it also demonstrates, I would say, the success of Al Ezzel plant, which, as we have heard today, has been commissioned over 10 years ago, and which plays a major role in the economy of Bahrain. And it's a very interesting transaction, because it was the first IPP, which is a kind of privatization, independent power project in Bahrain. So it has a history, and it's a very successful project.